Hey Cupcakes, how's it going? I want to quickly do a quarterly check-in of my reading for you guys. I am going to be using the weighted rating system by Covers with Cassidy's template on Excel. If I can get it from her channel to link it for y'all if y'all like to use it for yourself, I will try to do so in the comments, but she actually has it broke down by how she does her rating, then the books you catalog, monthly stats, quarterly stats, yearly stats, more stats, hauled books, DNF'd books, reading challenges, library catalog, and end of year. So we're just going to go straight to quarterly stats. She already has it ready for me. All I had to do was just enter all in my data for all the books I've read so far from January to the end of March. I was going to do this actually earlier in the week, but I actually was trying to finish books for the Our Fantasy Bingo board that I was doing. That started last April up until yesterday. So I will be doing a whole separate video for that bingo board and what books I read for that. But I wanted to wait to do the quarterly check-in actually today on April 1st after I got those books submitted to my little sheet and to all the other forms. So with that being said, in total for the quarter, I have read 20 books so far. I have read 4,740 pages. I have read an average of 54 pages a day, and I have read an average 237 page count book. My most read genre was fantasy romance. I had 6 books with reps. I had 7 books I had read from the author from before. I have hauled 10 books. And I will go into those in just a few minutes as well. I have star rating breakdown. I had 3 5 stars, 5 4 stars, 8 3 stars, 2 2 stars, and 2 1 stars, making my average star rating 3.25, which is not too bad. I definitely would like it to be higher, but I really went in really breaking down my ratings this year instead of just being like, yeah, that was the best book, unless it actually I felt in my soul it was a 5-star book. But I used G or Book Roast from YouTube's call pile system that I had from last year that I was doing with my other Excel sheet. But Cassidy's is practically sort of the same. Hers is Rubik, but it's hers are kind of backwards to G, so whatever I wrote down that would make sense for Cassidy's like numbers on here, I put those in it. It ended up equaling out either way to what stars I rated the actual book for. So it worked out in the end. But I really broke down the books by those categories and really rated thoroughly for my books this year. As well as on the Our Fantasy Bingo board end of it, I had to, for hard mode or hero mode, I had to review every book. So every book I have read this year has been reviewed on Goodreads. So I like that I did that too. So then publication breakdown. So with Cassidy's thing, she does it where backlist is anything past the year prior. So the year prior would be 2024, and then new releases is this year, which is 2025, and then so then last year is 2024. So, and that being said, I have 2 new releases that I read this year. I had 12 backlist books, and I had 6 books from last year. I had format 3 physical, 0 audiobook, 1 mixed media, and 16 ebooks. I read a lot of ebooks this year, but I'm really happy with the physical books that I did get done because I did finally finish Bookshops and Bone Dust and the Kith and Kin book that's been on my TBRs multiple times. And then I read Spectacular from Stephanie Garber, which was my other physical book. And then other than that, I am in the middle of doing Onyx Storm right now, which is my other physical book, and other things like that that I have from other TBRs that are physical. So I'm trying to read those as fast as I can. So series breakdown, this is where it got bad. So I started 6, I continued 4, I completed 1, which was the Stephanie Garber book because it's technically a holiday novella after the trilogy for the Caraval series. I caught up with 4, I DNF'd 3, and I can tell you all about those in just a second as well. I am working on 7, and then I also had 7 standalones, and then age demographic, I had 7 middle grade, which surprised me because I was like, what did I read that was a middle grade? But I had 7 middle grades, 6 young adult, and then 0 on the new adult or adult. I had 1 arc, which I didn't even realize I read an arc, but I had an arc. I had 9 KU, 10 owned. So I actually read one more than I had on KU, which is really great. And then by genre breakdown, I had 4 fantasy romances, 2 romances, 4 fantasies, 1 contemporary, 2 horror, 3 paranormal romances, 1 thriller, 1 dark romance, 1 survival, and 1 urban fantasy. And I will say right now, those 1 stars that I had were those horror books, because I am not a horror reader, but I needed those for different prompts. So that's what it is. So let's see. Let's go back up to the top and see where I wanted. Oh, okay. First thing I remember I was going to show you guys, or tell you guys, was books that I hauled for this year. So I also was doing this on G's Excel sheet where I was putting in books that I got new. So I found out that she had this here as well, so I did that on here. So for January, I had 4 books that I hauled. I got Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, and then I am in the middle of trying to collect all the books for the Dragon series. That's a middle grade series from Chris DeLacy. So I got Icefire, Firestar, Dark Fire. And then I got, in February, the Cruel Crown, which is the 2 little mini novellas for the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. And then in March, I have got Pink Lemonade Cake Murder by Joanne Fluke, sorry. And then Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is my first Taylor Jenkins Reid. So hopefully if I like this, I'll like any other thing she writes. And then I got Talismans, Teacups, and Tryst by Kay Starling. I got a Fragile Enchantment hardcover. I've already read it on KU, but I got the hardcover because it was on clearance at Half Price Books, and it was beautiful. So got that one. And then last one I got was the D&D Dungeon Club Roll Call first edition, because it's actually in a whole nother cover. That was their first edition, which is like, it looked like note paper with like the little holes in it, and the newer book is like completely different art. So I like that I got that one. Now I bought all of them. The Onyx Storm was a gift I got the day that it released, but all of them were like super cheap. They're all from Half Price Books. The Pink Lemonade Murder and the Maybe Another Life was at a thrift store my mom and me go to, and they were probably like 25 cents a piece, because we do like $7 bags. So I got those there. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to point out. So, oh, the series DNFs. So my series DNFs were, let me go back to the books here. Okay, so the first series I DNF'd was Magical Midlife Madness. I had to read that book because it was a alliteration where it's more than one word that has the same letter. I did not really like the first book, so I don't plan to continue the rest of the series, and plus I felt like it was a book that you didn't really have to read the rest, so I DNF'd it. The second one is Monstrous. It was a book I bought from Amazon. That was a manga. Not my cup of tea. That was one of those horror ones, so I'm not continuing the series with it. And the last one was Enchant, which was a dark romance. It wasn't even really all that dark. It was literally labeled erotica, and that's pretty much what it was, because it was literally the guy pining over the woman, what he wanted to do to her, and then he in fact did those things to her in the end. But that was literally the novella welcoming you to that series, so I'm not going to complete that one either. But I think that is it that I needed to go over with you guys. Let me check just to make sure. Oh yeah, I was gonna see which one was my arc. The arc I read this year was, oh, The Sublet. It was an Amazon book that I had got from the Prime books that you get, like you get to choose 2 a month if you're a Prime member, and I got that one, and it, with it not even being out yet, it was an arc technically. But yeah, I think that's it. So I will see you guys later in my next video, and until then, stay sweet.